Wednesday night. So a lot of things to talk about today, guys. Very interesting day. So first of all, if you're new to this, guys, this is the journey of 0 to 1 billion. It's basically just me documenting myself building my business. And the business model is LBOs, M&A, private equity, sort of like QLA basically. That's the business model. So I talk about what I do every day and I'll get straight into it. I have a couple things written down right here. And first thing I want to say is I just came back from sparring again. So this is 2 days in a row of me going to the boxing gym and sparring. And I'll probably go again tomorrow and probably not for the rest of the week. I feel like I just I like shrink when I go to the boxing gym. Like today I didn't get to lift any weights. But man, taking hits, it like your thoughts just don't move as fast when you get hit so much. But let me start from the beginning, all right? So today I woke up early. I went to work. I have a sales job. And I worked somewhere from like 10 a.m. or 9:30 to 7. And a lot of interesting things that happened today. So as far as offense versus defense, my offense is in like the work I put in onto the business. Today I had a very, very important phone call with someone very interesting. So you guys are going to want to hear about this, especially the SMMA guys. You guys are going to want to hear about this. So I met this guy who I met strictly through referrals. Someone I connected with on LinkedIn that I spoke with, they recommended this guy's service to me. And basically what he does is he helps you find off-market deal flow. And his business model is very, very interesting. Basically, he has different packages, right? And he gets paid in multiple different ways at the same time. So let me try to make it the most simple and put it in the most simple way, right? So he brings you a lead, like a company that's interested in selling their business that are in a certain criteria. So certain area, certain business sector slash industry, certain amount of money that they make, and certain amount of interest, right? And he'll bring you this lead, and there's different ways of structuring the payment. So he'll either do $500 per intro, or he'll do $2,000 to $6,000 package for like a list that he builds out. So however long it lasts, he said it lasts somewhere between 3 to 6 months. But they basically build you a list and then they outreach to everyone on the list. And depending on how fast you want them to go through the list, the package ranges from $2,000 to $6,000. And then, see, look, if it's just that, that's sweet, right? But here's the kicker, right? If they give you a deal that you close, they want, if I'm remembering it correctly, I think it was, what was it? I think it was 5% of the first $1 million of the transaction. They want 4% of the second million, and then 3% on anything after that. So if you're doing like a $10 million acquisition, they'll make somewhere about $350,000 from their service. And you could pay that through an acquisition because there's going to be over finance, and you could pay it through the earnings of the business itself. So like if I owe some guy $350,000 and I have a $10 million business that I bought, and this $10 million business makes me $3 million a year profit, that's how you pay them out. And it's very, very interesting business model. So apparently like this is like a thing. Like there's other companies that do this. Like I didn't even know this. And I learned so many important details today, guys. Like I realized that my biggest problem isn't the outreach. Like, I'm doing the correct amount of outreach. I really am. I'm on the right track. But my biggest problem is the data scraping, the actual data, the list compiling that I do is terrible. Like, I have not spent enough time doing the lists. And therefore, and I've heard this before, if you don't have the right data, this process will definitely take you like three times longer. You know what I mean? And I tried to buy lists, and trust me, guys, you'd never ever want to buy lists, because not only are you gonna have it and someone else is gonna have it, it's not fresh data, but it's also probably not everything that's out there. Like, I've paid multiple people from Fiverr, from different websites for lists. I literally wasted hundreds of dollars trying to compile lists like automated for me, and there really is not a great service for compiling lists, like real, like fresh lists, right? I haven't seen that, and I've maybe my research wasn't the greatest, and perhaps one of you guys could recommend something, but I haven't seen anything that's that great when it comes to list compiling. I really need to delve, like I need to spend like a couple days, weeks, like finding like the correct sort of softwares to use for the right data, and then actually building out the list. So the guy told me specific details. Like, he literally laid out his whole business model to me, but the one thing he didn't mention to me was like the actual softwares they use. And I kind of got the sense that like he didn't want to share that. So like I didn't push it too hard, because I'm actually thinking about like going with him. Because what's it to me if I could have someone working on that for me and then me doing it myself, like double the work. I think that would be amazing. So many interesting things from today. He really laid it out for me, man. Like, he said that you should expect somewhere between 2 to 5 really good leads in a month from the work that they'll give you. And it depends on like the industry you're in, the location, the size. Like, the bigger the size, the longer it's going to take. The smaller the size, the more acquisition opportunities you'll have, right? Like, smaller is in like $1 million range, big is in $10 million range. And keep in mind, guys, I know for a fact, because of someone else I talked to, this guy that I know, he actually did an $8 million acquisition, and he did it with this guy. So for sure, like $350,000 from one transaction. Okay, it was 8 million, not so from a $10 million transaction, this guy, his service gets paid about 350,000. So if it's 8 million, it's somewhere probably close to like $300,000 for that transaction. So like if you're doing an SMMA, dude, you should do an SMMA in this field. Like, I guarantee you, I could see this field transforming. Like, this field of M&A needs people like this guy that I met. There's a huge need for it. And he literally told me, like, the reason why I got into this is because I saw high demand in it. Like, there's high demand for this service. Because the brokers, a business broker, is terrible to work with. Not only on the person trying to buy the business, but also the person trying to sell the business. Like, they're in between, they're the middleman, and they're not, usually the middleman, like, they provide value by making things like quick and easy. But no, when it comes to business brokers, they literally make it worse. So the best thing is this guy's service. It really is the best thing, I'd say. Like, that's a business model that I could really see myself doing. That's not what I'm trying to do though. But I could maybe see, like, if the YouTube channel like actually like grows, I could see somehow I create that service for people, because it's not like a course. But here's another problem. I guarantee you, once you delve into that field, like you almost become like a venture capitalist. And all of a sudden now you're doing like big deals. You don't want to do like the $1 million deals. You'll only want to do like $100 million deals. Like, you know what's crazy about this is that You know, I should have searched it before I did this video, and I'll search it as I'm saying it. Japanese guy became a billionaire through M&A and AI. Okay, there's this billionaire. He's a Japanese guy. I read about him before. I had at one point in time, guys, I got fired from a job I had, and I wasn't depressed, but I literally just locked myself in a room, and I went on the billionaires list, and I just studied everyone as far as I could reach on that list. I literally studied everyone on that list, and this guy was one of them, and he was one of the newest ones on the billionaire list. So Masayoshi. Basically, this guy from Japan did exactly what this guy is doing, the guy that I met. And the Sayoshi guy only does large transactions. And this service is so needed in Japan because they literally skipped a whole generation of people being born. So there's a lot of business owners that are looking to retire and not enough buyers. So he really helps connect the buyer with the seller, because otherwise the business is literally going to shut down. If someone wants to retire and they can't get rid of the business, they're going to shut it down. It happens a lot, actually. You'd be surprised. The small businesses don't have a lot of buyers. But this guy became a billionaire. He used AI somehow. I don't know how, but he used AI to help connect the buyers and the sellers. He basically used AI to make the process very fast. I'm not sure exactly what steps he took to make it fast, but the due diligence part, something within the due diligence was done a lot quicker because of AI and because of the data that they have. They have supreme data. This game really comes down to data if you think about it. Everything really comes down to data. Data is like gold nowadays. It's insane. It's so insane. But back to the point. If you want to start an agency, this has to be the best agency idea you could think of, man. Because you get money up front, and the guy told me, like, the money up front only covers for, like, the expenses to actually, like, get people to call and make a list and all that, which he probably has some kind of margin up front as well. But, dude, the private equity game is the biggest game you could play. And then I also I was listening to a Alex Hormozi podcast today. And this, I'm going to link it down in the description. I want you guys to listen to this. But he literally talks about things that I've been saying since day one of this journey. He talks about private equity and how there's a lot of billionaires that come from private equity and how that's very coincidental, you know? He talks about his strategies in M&A and different types of sectors, and he talks about branding and how branding helps him with acquisitions and different types of founders. And he talks, bro, Alex Hormozi is literally in the same field that I'm in. It's literally in the same field. Isn't that crazy? Like, this is like upper level entrepreneurship. It's like I'm like skipping step 1 and going to step 2. Because step 1 of entrepreneurship is like making a business, acquiring customers, creating good products. Step number 2, it's like you got like levels to the game. You got like right here, like building products, customer service, services, finding customers. And then up here, it's like, okay, you got this stuff going on. But up here, you got the acquisitions and the M&A. And it's like, okay, you got like this box of a business that's created, and you're like playing with the boxes, and you're up here. You're on like the next level. And then there's another level on top of that as well, which is like banking and the Federal Reserve and people that literally, instead of buying a business, they'll buy like the M&A firms, or they'll buy like kind of like BlackRock and Blackstone. Like, I've read about them buying out different investment firms that go bankrupt. They'll do the M&A game, but like on the biggest option, which is like investment, like wealth management, like banks. Like JP Morgan, I believe JP Morgan or it was Chase. One of them like went bankrupt and they merged. And that was because of an M&A transaction. So now it's called JP Morgan Chase, but it used to just be Chase and JP Morgan. Like there's levels to the game. But yeah, that podcast was very, very interesting. I'm gonna include it in the description. And something interesting from that is that Alex Hormozi said he posts 350 posts a week and 50 posts a day. That is insane. That is insane. That is a lot of freaking posting. Which goes to show like he's growing like crazy as well. And I have a lot of things written down here from what he said, but he said like branding, like creating like a YouTube channel, like a brand. Branding is not what you say about you, it's what people say about you. But before that, he was saying branding is teaching behavior at scale. So it's like you're teaching behavior. It's very interesting. I think you should listen to the podcast, especially if you're watching this video. You're probably interested in that kind of stuff as well. Another interesting thing that happened today. So I have a sales job, and I have a manager who's like, he's a beast. Like I am so privileged to actually get to learn from this guy. He's literally physically trained with Grant Cardone, like back in the day when Grant Cardone only used to sell like CDs. Like he's done all types of sales. Like he told me stories about his sales experiences, which is like insane. And I don't want to, perhaps I shouldn't like expose the stuff he was telling me, right? Just know this guy's like elite level salesman, right? Like on every level. The one thing he was talking about today that people don't ever focus on, because most salesmen are so focused on the close, they don't do a great job of the fact find, that he calls it that, fact finding, which is like understanding what kind of product, what kind of situation your customer's in. He says you should minimum have at least 7 questions. You shouldn't ever move closer to a close unless you ask minimum 7 questions. It's kind of like when you play basketball and like the coach says like, don't shoot, nobody try to score before like 3 passes. It's similar to that. Like don't try to close a customer unless you ask 7 questions, which is very interesting. But the reason why I bring him up is because he did an insane M&A transaction. Perhaps I shouldn't talk about it. I guess no one's gonna know him, but basically, the same type of job I work in, which I'm not gonna disclose, he bought that same type of company back in the old place he used to live at. Like he changed locations, but he bought a company from this old lady who's looking to retire. And he like had a relationship with this person, and they were speaking for like a year, and it was brought up and they were speaking about it like here and there, and eventually the lady actually sold it to him, sold the business and the real estate to him. And this man is so smart. I'm so glad I get to learn from this guy, I swear to God. He bought the business and the real estate, right? But he bought the business for the price of the real estate plus inventory. So like, let's say the real estate was, I'm gonna make up numbers because I don't want to say exactly what he was telling me. Let's say the business, the building, the real estate was like $600,000-$700,000. He paid $600,000-$700,000 for the real estate plus the inventory of the business, and he paid $0 for the business itself, like the revenue, the cash flow of the business that actually comes in. He paid 0 for it. That is okay. This guy, he paid for it cash, and it's literally a lose, like it's a win-win situation, because it's almost like I have let's say $500,000 in my bank account, right? It could either sit in my bank account or it could sit on this real estate property. But either way, that value is still there, whether it's here or in my bank account. The 500,000 is not like disappeared. So he basically took the safest bet. He bought inventory, which you could sell. So he basically transferred the money from in his bank account to in the real estate property and the inventory. And he caught a steal. This business was making millions in revenue. And I was like, oh, like I bet you were making like 30% margins on that. He was like, we were making more. I was like, bro, this guy caught the most insane steal. Imagine, that is crazy, man. Imagine instantly buying something that generates, let's say like 40% of like over $2 million in revenue. You're making let's say $1 million a year profit, and you paid this much for it, basically, because the real estate is a different type of asset, and then the actual inventory is that, and then you have the business itself as an asset. This he bought for zero. And in the business buying world, there's so much like there's such little information about it. People don't understand it. I was like, man, like, how did you do that? Didn't this lady like know like she should pay more? He was like, yeah, you know, like she just wasn't business savvy. I was like, wouldn't she like, surely she would speak with like an advisor or someone that knows more than her. And I guess she didn't, or like she did and something happened. But situations like that, like I've heard so many times, like stories like that, man. Crazy. There's so much to talk about when it comes to him, but I like don't want to like leak the things he talks about. But you know, this series isn't like 1 million views every video, so I don't think it's really a big deal. Plus, I'm not saying his name. He was telling me about his cousin who made so much money, man. And I don't know if I should share the story. Basically, his cousin, which is someone like he knows, like almost like a brother, like they live together. When they were younger, this guy, his cousin, took advantage of like when the internet was first born, and he made a company, an internet company, and sold it, $30 million, and signed a 2-year non-compete. Sold it again, right? Bigger transaction than the first one, more than 30. Sold it again to the same company, 2-year non-compete. He did another company with an even bigger transaction and sold it a third time to the same exact company, 2-year non-compete, and then did it a fourth time and sold it to the same exact company, and then they made him sign like a non-compete for life. And this dude is balling. But the one interesting thing that he was telling me about his cousin was, he was saying like his cousin would rather, like, let's say you live in a tornado area. You could either build a bunker underground, and then his cousin took a different route. He's like, listen, I could build a bunker underground, or I could just buy a tank. Like, if there's a tornado happening, would you rather be in a bunker or in a tank? Because in a tank, you could fill it up with, there's ways, I don't know what it looks like on the inside, but I'm assuming you could put gas and masks and weapons and food and water. Like, keep it in there as safety. And if some crazy stuff happens, like let's say there's a nuke, there's radiation everywhere, dude, you're screwed if you're stuck on the ground. You have to like be mobile. You have to leave. You have to figure it out. You can't just stay put. Right? I don't know how the radiation works, but it stays there for years and years and years and a long time. But no, if you're in a tank, damn, like you could go around and you could shoot people, you could take things. And imagine owning a tank. I can't imagine that, man. I want to own a tank one day. That would be so cool. I've never seen a tank in real life. You know what? I want to do this. I want to one day where me or one of my friends or like, family member, whoever's with me, we're going to get like those like RC cars that like go super fast. We're going to have one person like drive the RC car and another person in the tank. and we're gonna try to shoot the RC car, and the guy's gonna be like the iPad trying to like run away from the shots. That would be so fun. Dude, I'm like feeling the headshots from today, man. Man, this M&A game is insane. It's good to know. So something else from the guy when I talked to him today, he said on the large package, and this is the part that surprised me. Like if it was $2,000 or $6,000 upfront package, right? Remember that part. So $6,000 package, you get a package of outreach where it's 600 touch points a week. That's how he described it. 600 touch points. So I was like, what does that mean? Basically, it could be either half email and half calls, or more calls and less emails, like 60% calls and 40% emails. So he gets 600 people to reach out to. So listen, if I did 300 cold calls a week, right? Dude, that's 42 a day. Let's just say 300, 5 days in the week. So 60 calls a day, 300 touch points a week, plus 300 email. Dude, that's already what I'm doing, man. And that's his large package. But it doesn't seem to work for me because my data's off. I talk with interested sellers, but they're not the right size. It happens to me all the time. It's such an interesting game, man. If you know how to do off-market deal flow, if you know how to cold call in general, just in any industry, such a valuable skill. And then also branding, such a valuable skill. It's crazy, man. So yeah, day 100. I think I really need to hone in the data. I need to figure out. I need to know like which softwares to use. What's the best softwares to get data from? I have to actually like do research on this. And like maybe I should stop doing cold calls for a little bit. Or should I not? No, let me hit the cold calls during the day, and then when I come at night, I can just hit the research. And then offense from today, guys, I sent about like 50 emails. But typically I get results from the emails in about 24 hours. So I'll have to wait on that. What else? So from boxing, so from boxing today, guys, I was sparring, and you know, you gotta fail before you succeed. I'm starting to like learn how to take a hit and like be under fire, but still be calm. That's a huge deal. Like, and I'm still a beginner, keep in mind. So like, I record every single time I spar, and I'm noticing like, especially like the first time compared to now, when someone would throw a punch, I overreact like crazy. And really, the main punch that most of my opponents, because I don't face like, or I faced a couple people that were like high level, but most of the people I fight are only like a little bit more ahead of me. Like they've been doing it like 4 to 6 months. I've been doing it like maybe 2 months or something. 2 months, or was it like a month? I started in like December, I think. I honestly don't remember. But I really have to watch out for the right hand. And if someone lets go of the right hand, you have to make them pay, man. You have to make them pay. Because like the jabs, the hooks, not that, like, I haven't seen too many hooks. Mostly like the right hand, man, is the one I have to like watch out for the most. I have to learn how to really like maneuver around the right hand. But yeah, I wrote something else down that was interesting. Yeah, so I spoke with someone today at work. Like they were fixing up one of our like we had some electrical issues, right? So this guy came in, he was an electrician, and very handy man, you know what I mean? And I was speaking to him, and I realized, like, what's a better skill, plumbing or being an electrician? Electricians, they make bread. They make like doctor money. They probably make more than doctors. Like, he was telling me some of the jobs he had recently, and he's a small contractor. Like, he switched like two different outlets, and like did like one switch, and it was like $1,200 from like a couple hours worth of work. Or I don't know how long it took him. Definitely not a day. That's insane. That's crazy. So not only is it a good skill, but also perhaps it's a good roll up. And it's very risky, dangerous job. I know that for sure, but um, therefore the barrier of entry and the professionals are paid better because there's that risk. So it's a good thing, right? But perhaps it's a really great roll up strategy. Electricity companies, I'm sure, like, there's no way that's a consolidated industry. I'm just assuming. Like, I haven't done the research on it. And then also from Alex Hormozi's interview, he was talking about med spas and how med spas are such a good roll up right now. And how he's very intrigued by the med spa space. That's something that I want to perhaps look into. Should I be dead set on the industry I'm in right now? I'm in a really good industry, but from the call with the guy today, I have to make a list of 10 industries that I'm interested in, and I could think of 10 in 10 cities. So imagine in this series where somehow I find a deal that's like in a different state or whatever, and I have to move, and you guys literally get to see the process of the whole thing. Like, that's a lot of value. You guys are really seeing like the real deal. Like, I'm not trying to sell anything. I don't plan on selling anything. And I know for damn sure it wouldn't be a course. I don't want to sell no courses. I don't like the stigma around it. I think in the M&A game, first of all, I think it would be so hard to try and like teach someone, like especially a beginner, to want to like step into the M&A space. It really takes a certain kind of person. And very, very few people truly succeed in that space. And you can see it firsthand through Dan Pena, because he's like the ultimate guy when it comes to teaching and courses, when it comes to M&A. Like, he has the most expensive course I've ever seen. It's like $40,000. Insane. But the M&A space, guys, is an expensive space. It's like real money space. Real knowledge, like very important things that you can learn. I'm not saying pay $40,000. I'm not paying that. I'm just saying, like, the certain people you deal with, I don't know how this channel would go, really. I just know it would be valuable. And I know my digital footprint, regardless of, this is going to work. Like, I'm very confident in that. But even if somehow there's a pivot, this is something that can go along with me. And it's very genuine. This is really, really what I'm doing. It's really what's going on in my life. So it's just genuine, you know? So if any kind of shift happens, I could easily like shift the channel. Okay, this is happening now. This is what happened. And I could see, I don't care if it's small. And perhaps even the fact that it's small is in my favor right now. Because imagine me being like a big channel and like so many details that perhaps I shouldn't share, gets out there very fast on like a wide scale. Like, I'm not sure if I really need that right now. Yeah, it's interesting to think about the channel. I wonder if there's any good courses on how to grow your YouTube channel. And I'm sure what they say in the videos is like, you need to have some crazy editing and you need to post like 1 million times a day. That's what they all say. Like, it's not just that simple, man. I don't think it's just that simple. I don't know why, but my last couple of videos haven't been going crazy. And for some reason, people just keep on like unsubscribing. Like, I think in the past 3 days, I probably had like 20 people unsubscribe. I'm just like, honestly, I'm unfazed. Like, I'm not really doing this for the YouTube channel. I'm just like doing it for documentation. Like, I know it's gonna be valuable. I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know. But I know for sure, like, everyone in the finance space just wants to copy Iman Gadzhi. Like, it's literally ridiculous. It's so, like, annoying. Like, everyone just wants to be a copycat, and they make, like, the same thumbnails, and they always have, like, the two, like, LED lights on both sides. Like, the other day, I literally saw an ad, and sometimes I'll watch an ad just to see, like what the hell they're trying to sell me on, like, and how they're doing it, how they're making the video, and how much interaction it has. Like, I'll pay attention to ads. And one guy was literally like, don't be like Iman Gadzhi. And it, like, switches angles, like me looking, and then it's like me, like, looking this way from, like, up here. And then, like, there's, like, the LED lights in the back. Like, he's like, don't be like Iman Gadzhi, but then he's like, his ad is literally built exactly like Iman's videos. And I like Iman Gadzhi for sure. He's almost exactly my age. He's like a year older than me, which is insane. I don't know if I would want to succeed that young. Like, I need a little bit of more turmoil in my life before I make it. Because thinking back in my life, like, my younger years, like, if I made it during that time, it would have actually, I think it would have been a lot worse on me. Am I just saying that? I don't know. I really believe that, if I'm being honest. I think the story needs to be great. It shouldn't just be, like, simple, like, oh, I just got lucky. Like, no one's gonna respect you that way. You know what I mean? That's not how I want to be. But I like his story. But the only thing, I'm just saying this, like, kind of reflecting on this channel, I wouldn't want to, like, teach something that I don't do. Like, he teaches, like, SMMA, but he sold his business because he couldn't grow it anymore. Like, Alex Hormozi does that very well. Like, he even said it. I've heard him say it before. He literally says, I can't sell my businesses and just focus on brand, because how am I supposed to have any kind of authority over anyone? Like, when I watch Iman's videos now, they're all like VSLs, video sales letters. If you're in sales and marketing, you know what a VSL is. They're all VSLs. Like, he literally doesn't post a VSL like on another website. He'll post it on his channel. Like, his channel is just like a farming frenzy. And he talks about the same thing over and over. Like, he just tries to target, like, new people. Like, me personally, like, I don't really watch his videos. Like, I'll watch his vlogs, but not his videos. And this video is kind of getting long, but I actually kind of prefer that. Try to make it a bit longer. I wasn't even intending on doing that, but goddamn, it's 2 a.m. So something I was asking someone today, I was like, would you rather have a super poppin' YouTube channel, or a big Instagram page, or a big TikTok page? And they kind of like flip-flop. Like, one person at first said TikTok, the next person said, no, you know what, Instagram. And then eventually we landed on YouTube. The best thing is to have a big YouTube. Everyone knows that. But man, I think the most attractive thing to me is, like, having, like, a big Instagram page. But, like, I don't want to post a ton on Instagram, which I wonder how much Alex Hormozi posts per day. Let's see. Let me pull this guy up. Alex Hormozi. Okay, it's loading. 2.1 million followers, 1,700 posts. That's insane. Okay, he posted 3 hours ago, 13 hours ago, and 1 day, 2 day. So he posts like twice a day. That's crazy. I have to post twice a day to have a big Instagram. I like the more, like, I don't know. I'm not thinking about having millions of followers, guys. I think 10 to 100K this year would be insane for me. That's what I think. having like an Instagram page of the same size is like, right now from where I'm at, that's like, it's not even my focus, but if that just like somehow happens without like too much effort, that would be crazy in my opinion. But yeah.